ये देखिए दूसरा टीयर गैस शेल फायर किया गया है, सेकंड टीयर गैस शेल, लगातार टीयर गैस शेल और पुलिस जो है टीयर गैस शेल फायर कर रही है और ये ट्रैक्टर्स यहाँ पे आगे बढ़ चुके हैं।
Hello, welcome to The Wire. I'm Raghu Karnad. It's now been about 6 months since farmers, especially in Punjab and Haryana, began protesting the 3 new farm laws pushed through by the Modi government at the height of the pandemic. Every few weeks, they've upped the ante and raised the stakes of their protest. And today, they're doing so once again by planning to block the Jaipur-Delhi highway. And we're on our way to the site of the blockade, along with Viju Krishnan, who's one of the joint secretaries and one of the national leaders of the All Indian Kisan Sabha. Mr. Krishnan, the Jaipur-Delhi highway is one of the most major highways in the country, and it's part of the National Golden Quadrilateral. What would you say is the extent to which protest is justified to push back these laws?
The government has sought to discredit the movement. But if you see the protests at other borders also, the people have come out in support of it. And we are confident even here, the people of our country realize that this is affecting the livelihoods of millions of people. The future generations are being threatened by these acts. So surely the people will stand by the farmers. They all know it is the farmers who, in the pandemic period, when the whole world was suffering, put in their toil and investment to ensure that the people of India don't go hungry to bed. Artists coming out for farmers, writers coming out for farmers, teachers coming out, students, advocates, doctors for farmers. So it's a spontaneous kind of solidarity that is taking place across the country.
When the ordinances were enacted, farmers began protesting, I believe, in Punjab on their rooftops. The protests have in a sense, been increasing their intensity step by step to progressively pressure the government. Tell me what you foresee for the next few weeks.
See, the protests have been going on from the day the ordinances were brought up. And initially it was in terms of burning these ordinances across thousands of places in the country. Almost close to 4,000 centers in the country, these were burnt. Not just, protests were not just on rooftops, but also people came out physically and burned this on the streets. So from then on, there have been continuous protests. And we have taken a lot of time to go to the masses and explain what are the problems with these acts, how it is not going to affect just the farmers, the working class are going to be affected, all the consumers are going to be affected, and in the future, the entire manner in which agriculture takes place in our country, that itself is going to be affected. Most of the media has been trying to create an impression that it's a Punjab-specific movement. But we have had protests across the country. Yes, the nature of protests are different. There are specific reasons for that. Punjab and Haryana has a wider network of the APMC, and procurement is much better than other places. In thousands of places, the effigies of Narendra Modi, Amit Shah and Adani were burnt, and also Ambani. This is something which would not have happened few years back. So very clearly, the anger against these acts and the manner in which during a pandemic this government is going about curtailing the rights of the people, including the rights of workers and students and so on, how democratic dissent is being curtailed. So against all that, there is an outpouring of the discontent of the people against this government.
Government is also seems to be stepping up its criticism and its efforts to undermine the movement. What's the appropriate response to that?
See, the government is actually rattled by the unity of these protests and the peaceful manner in which these protests are happening. The government did not expect that in a pandemic, in a lockdown, when people are also having the fear of this disease itself, this kind of an upsurge would be there. It is not that the government has not been given enough time. The government has refused to come forward. They are very clearly standing with the interests of the corporate companies, especially their cronies, Ambanis and Adanis.
Now, the ordinances that were introduced by the Modi government were introduced in June during the height of the pandemic, and the laws have been passed in a great hurry in September without any prior consultation of farmers groups, which is part of the reason why there's such an outrage among farmers right now. Tell me what your feelings are about the timing and what it says about the priorities and what's behind the timing of the passage of these laws when so much else is happening in the country.
Amidst a pandemic, when the whole world is trying to address the issues created by the pandemic, here you have a government which has the interests of the corporate cronies as its main priority. And when the people of our country, the toiling masses, the farmers, had been demanding relief because they have all lost huge losses in incomes have taken place due to the manner in which the lockdown has been. A lot of them have lost their jobs. Nothing has been done by this government.
Let me ask you about a very interesting aspect of this moment, which is that the farmers' organizations and the protesting farmers are taking the name of two major corporate houses, Ambani and Adani, and they are being very direct about opposing them as seemingly the interest groups behind this. What's your take on this kind of criticism of these two corporate groups?
As part of the struggle, one of the main central slogans have been against Adani and Ambani. And during the last 6 years of the BJP government and under Narendra Modi leadership, these two corporate companies have been the visible gainers. So that is how the people perceive it. But as far as farmers in Gujarat are concerned, from 2014 itself, they would tell us this is no Gujarat model. It is Modi and Adani's model of corporate loot of Jal, Jungle, Zameen and mineral resources. So it is not new that a corporate house like Adani has been at the receiving end of these protests. However, this is against all corporate houses, all agri-businesses which have been profiteering at the expense of the farmers, at the expense of the poor in our country and at the expense of the consumers.
Some of the farmers' protests, for instance, the protests taken out by the Bharatiya Kisan Union, the Ugrahan party, have also expanded the statements they're making to include statements about civil liberties and about political prisoners. What's your reaction to this as a different group, but an allied group, of increasing the scope of what the farmers are talking about to include civil liberties under this government?
See, actually, on civil liberties, on the attacks on voices of dissent, the All India Kisan Sabha has also our position. We have been on the streets against this. We have had taken a clear position against the Citizenship Amendment Act and so on. That position we do have. But this is a vast movement of hundreds of organizations, and it has emerged in the context of the 3 acts and the electricity. So that is the main focus that the All India Kisan Sangharsh Coordination Committee and the Samyukt Kisan Morcha or Manch has. So that is, I think, around which this struggle has been built. Surely different organizations have their political positions, have their views on different issues. With many of them, for instance, in some of these organizations, when we initially built the All India Kisan Sangharsh Coordination Committee, they were unwilling to take up other issues. But in the course of the struggle, there has been greater consensus on wider issues. So you have a diverse set of groups here, and different positions are likely. That is, but we should not lose focus from these issues now.
I think that's an important point which many people who are not familiar with agrarian politics will not understand, which is that this is a very diverse set of organizations that have come together in a very unprecedented way in the All India Kisan Sangharsh Coordination Committee. And you've told us a little bit about the history of this alliance forming. Can you tell us about the politics and the complexity of bringing so many different groups with different interests from different regions together under this one banner, this one alliance now?
See, the main core of this kind of mobilization is that is an it is an issue-based unity. So when the land acquisition ordinance was brought in 2014 December by the Modi government, we built an issue-based unity which called for land rights for the landless and was also against indiscriminate land grab by the corporates. So when we initially set about forming that issue-based unity, there were certain groups which were having no interest in the question of land rights for the landless. But we stuck to that position, and in the course of struggle, many more groups joined us, and also the consensus was not just restricted to these two issues. So in a course of struggle, though you may have diverse groups, there is a possibility that we can arrive at a consensus and unanimity on wider issues. Every group is playing a responsible role in that. And you don't have a sense that we have a presence in around 23 states. It is of mutual respect. Through mutual respect, whether one is a small organization, whether it's only a regional district specific organization, that kind of a respect also has been built over these movements. So that is why so far the unity remains.
Unlike previous farmers' movements that have registered on our history, like whether it's Sardar Patel or whether it's Mahendra Singh Ticket in the 1980s, in looking at this movement, it's more democratic in a sense. There is no central figure who seems to be leading all of the farmers. That must pose a challenge, but also an opportunity. Does it make the movement more vulnerable or less vulnerable?
See, I think this is the unique feature of this movement. Even in the Bhumi Adhikar Andolan, there is no one leader. And the manner in which the meetings also take place, it is, like you said, much more democratic. But usually what happens, whether it's the government or the media, a large section of the media, there are honorable exceptions. This large section of the media tries to shrink a movement to an individual, to portray as though it is one individual leading a movement. That has happened in many struggles before. And they also conveniently dump that individual whenever they find that it does not suit them anymore. So that is something which every organized movement have to be wary of, and in a very strong manner try and avoid falling into that trap. So this is a collective movement around which thousands and thousands of farmers and workers have united, and this movement, literally the leaders in this movement are the farmers and the workers of our country.
Viju, the protest has really picked up steam now, and you've occupied half of the road and blocking traffic heading in the Delhi direction. Tell me what your plan is now and what you're thinking.
See, we have come with the plan to march to Delhi, and thousands have come here from Haryana, from Rajasthan, Punjab, and this was a major highway that was still not had big protests so far. So that is one, today we have decided to come in big numbers here at the call of the Samyukt Kisan Morcha, All India Kisan Sangharsh Coordination, All India Kisan Sabha and other organizations.
To receive instant updates on all videos from The Wire, click the subscribe button and hit the bell icon. Pay to support independent journalism. Click the link in the description and choose the amount you want to pay.